In this video, I have terrible news for Witcher players. Subscribe and hit the bell notification icon. We cover the Witcher 3 games, the Witcher series, and other medieval fantasy TV here at the Linus Wilson channel. You've probably heard that on January 16th, that CD Projekt Red delayed their rollout of Cyberpunk 2077, their next AAA RPG game. But they've been teasing for months, if not years, another AAA RPG. And they've also been telling their investors since at least August that they have a dual franchise model. And they specifically said that the two franchises were The Witcher and Cyberpunk. Well, it turns out that even though in August 2019 they said they had a dual franchise, they actually have no developers working on a AAA Witcher game at this time. So, in fact, CD Projekt Red deliberately misled their investors and they misled their fans of the Witcher games for months, and only on January 16th, 2020, after delaying their rollout of Cyberpunk 2077 by 5 months, did they admit to their investors their deceit. Their secret AAA game is not Cyberpunk 2077. Their second one, besides Cyberpunk 2077, is called Cyberpunk Multiplayer. I guess that they do say it's a code name, but it's definitely not a Witcher game. And that will be coming out in 2022, so it's likely they will have no development resources. They do not have a dual franchise model. They don't have people working on a AAA Witcher game at this time, and they are totally maxed out on resources, and that's why they're delaying Cyberpunk 2077. I will read you the quotes, and then I'll let you hear the quotes from the conference call. It's a little bit hard to understand the Polish executives, even though they're speaking in English. The two top executives from CD Projekt Red are speaking, and also the equity research analysts who they deceived for months are also on the call. On January 16th, 2020, and this was tweeted out by the CD Projekt Red's investor relations Twitter handle. CD Projekt Red's Senior Vice President of Business Development, Michal Nowakowski, said, quote, around the 8-minute mark of the conference call, given the expected release of Cyberpunk 2077 in September, and frankly speaking, the series of events it appears we expect to occur after that date, 2021 appears unlikely as a release date for Cyberpunk Multiplayer. And then, quote, by CD Projekt Red President Adam Kicinski said in the call, currently we are working on Cyberpunk and the multiplayer as the next big games. The AAA release we're working on in parallel is Cyberpunk Multiplayer. It's a code name for it, and the release date will probably go past 2021 with the move of Cyberpunk 2077. So basically, CD Projekt Red has said they've had a secret AAA game in the works for years, actually, in their investor documents. And they said since at least August 2019 that they have a dual franchise model, and they specifically mentioned the franchises The Witcher and Cyberpunk, but they have no AAA games in development, and it looks like they will have no development space for these people until 2022. So despite the fact that CD Projekt Red has been hiring people faster than the U.S. government, they are not going to be able to handle two different franchises at once. I'll let you hear the conference call right after this. The people speaking are Michal Nowakowski and two equity research analysts, and then at the end, CD Projekt Red President Adam Kicinski, and these are from about the 8 and 21 minute marks of that conference call, which I'll try to link the tweet below.
In terms of multiplayer, I mean, clear is that the AAA release we're working on in parallel with CP 2077 is Cyberpunk Multiplayer. So that's the first thing to say. And I think Adam was alluding first. I mean, things are going to be moving. So given the expected release of the Cyberpunk 2077 in September, and frankly speaking, the series of events which we expect to occur after that date, 2021 appears unlikely as a release date for the Cyberpunk Multiplayer. Are there any current works on different AAA projects besides Cyberpunk and its multiplayer and potential extensions? Or do you only work currently on Cyberpunk and multiplayer?
Currently, we are working on Cyberpunk and multiplayer as the next big game.
Okay, so to clarify, there are no other works on next AAA game besides Cyberpunk and multiplayer. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, with the AAA release we are working on in parallel is Cyberpunk Multiplayer. I mean, that we are trying to be as clear as possible in this regard. So, and this is, I mean, the date of releasing Cyberpunk Multiplayer. I mean, it's a code name, of course. It's, I mean, we'll probably 2021 together with the move for single player.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
This is a big insult to their investors who they were not honest with. For months, they've been putting off talking about that new project to deceive them because equity analysts have been asking them and they've been put off on this, saying that they're not going to talk about new projects so we can focus the marketing on this current project. But this is really, CD Projekt Red has said they don't care about the fans that made their company the profitable multi-million-dollar juggernaut that has made their executives rich. They don't care about those fans. They think they're idiots, and they'll take whatever they shove down their throats, whether it's a completely different game, a completely different RPG, instead of a third-person medieval RPG slasher, they're going to throw down their throats a first-person futuristic shooter game and think that all their fans are going to follow them. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But it's a big gamble. Their investors know it's a big gamble, and they've not been upfront and honest with their investors, and thus they've also lied to the gamers who were following their investor statements. While CD Projekt Red has been buoyed by the success of the Witcher show, that success they have not fully capitalized on, and their valuation, I think, is based on them fully capitalizing on that. But they showed no track record whatsoever of being able to implement anything in a reasonable time period. Their Witcher 1 game was severely delayed, had severe problems, never made it onto consoles, was only in PCs. Their Witcher 2 game, which was a far vast improvement, is still to this day busting PC consoles because of its bad design. So many generations past it, still we're getting 20 FPS, 30 FPS with many times faster processors, many times faster video cards than were available in 2011. And then Witcher 3 was a wild success. And instead of building upon that wild success, they totally threw it away, stopped development, and cynically only made card games that obviously had a limited market. And now in 2017, when they knew that Netflix had obtained the rights to The Witcher and they're going to spend $100 million on the first season, they did not do anything to roll out a AAA game. They've not done anything to roll out a AAA game to this day. And when the height of the Netflix fury was starting to heat up in 2019, They misled their investors about the dual franchise model. They don't have anything close to a dual franchise model. They can only produce one franchise at a time, and they have not attempted to produce anything AAA rated for the Witcher franchise since 2016. So that's 4 years, and you shouldn't expect them to try to begin to develop anything until 2022, according to the latest investor conference call, because that's when they may come out with may come out with Cyberpunk Multiplayer. So don't hold your breath on the Witcher franchise. If you're waiting for a good game, it's not going to come out at CD Projekt Red anytime soon. You can play the existing Witcher games, but if you want a similar game to The Witcher, you're not going to find it from CD Projekt Red in any reasonable time frame. It's the saddest video I've made in a while. I'm Linus Wilson. Subscribe, hit the bell notification icon. We do tips and tricks for The Witcher 3, and we cover the Witcher Netflix series along with other medieval fantasy TV such as Vikings. Bye-bye. Good luck on the path.